Back to the poem. Only a man who is wide-traveled and has wandered far can know something about how other men think. Such a man is wise.
So once again, we see the idea of wisdom coming from traveling and wandering sort of far and wide, and that you have to, it's not good enough to maybe read about, you know, other people or that kind of thing. You actually have to experience it to be able to see just sort of see what happens in the world, so that if you meet someone and they behave in a certain way and do certain things, the next time you meet someone who behaves in a similar way, you can kind of play it out in your head and be like, oh, okay, this is one of the likely scenarios that will happen as a consequence of how they're acting. And again, you just don't get that if you stay in your house and in what you know. You have to go outside of your comfort zone, outside of the known, to find this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, and it just emphasizes the importance of this experience. I mean, since all this stuff is kind of getting repeated, it's a lot of finding the nuance to each individual verse. And in this one, I think it's really the idea that wisdom comes from experience. And I mean, that's the biggest reason why you guys shouldn't be listening to me at all. But I'm still pretty little. But and thank you, by the way, for tuning in. But no, it's the importance of learning as much as you can by traveling widely, and as you gain that knowledge, you'll know something about other people, and having that just come through experience. It's it's a good point, but it's really more like you have to do a lot. Like, you're not going to know everything quickly. It's not like you're just going to put yourself out there, go into the unknown real quick, and gonna get this wisdom back. It's through doing it over and over and over, being in situations over and over and over, that you'll eventually get comfortable and competent and knowledgeable. That's my takeaway here. So
definitely, and I like what you said about having to do it over, and it's not an immediate thing. And what I was thinking about when you said that was actually the Voluspa and sort of Ragnarok, in that, if you go into a new situation, the you that comes out of it will be totally different. And if you go in willingly, it's a much easier transition than if you're going in fighting it. So, but yeah, no, it's just, you're a different person when you come back from learning things. And sometimes it's not too painful. Other times it's incredibly painful, and, the world ends and all the gods die and you get reborn out of the underworld. But yeah. Taken to the most extreme scenario. Yeah, 100%. And one other little nuance here that I liked was just that you're knowing something about how other men think. So, I mean, that shows the value of, I think, for lack of a better term, empathy, being able to understand how the people around you are actually thinking. And I mean, that could be through some, general knowledge of human psychology that comes through reading about it and experiencing it and blah, 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 blah. But I think you go down to the low level of, if you're dealing with the individual people, that's, getting to know them and getting to know them well enough to understand how they're reacting, what that might mean for how they're feeling, and for how they're possibly going to react to what you might do, right? So it's very much, if it's not just getting to know someone, it's at least getting to know enough people that you can tell when something's off about someone, something like that. I would agree. And I was just thinking a great example of this is the podcast with Jocko Willink and Jordan Peterson, which highly recommend you check out. It's one of the Jocko Willink podcast is a great podcast, and one of the best episodes is his episode with Jordan Peterson.
The first one, episode 98.
There you go. Yeah, you have two men who've sort of wandered wide and far, doing different things, but who come to the same conclusions.
and they both know how other men think. And this stanza really just clarifies that and crystallizes it.
For completely different reasons, completely different backgrounds, but their advice to people is basically identical.
Just it's amazing.
Coming from different perspectives. So highly recommend Jocko Willink in general. Get yourself motivated through him, but also that particular interview.